All right, it's the USA to the rescue. It's at long last. The USA is stepping in, doing our job in Nagorno-Karabakh. We're going to bring statehood to Artsakh. All right, well, not so fast. We do have some news of Mike Pompeo, the United States, getting involved, and I will get to that in a minute. But first, I just want to read this and show you what's going on right now. So this was this morning. November 8th. Well, that's what time it is now. So this was November 17th is when this article came out. Right now it's November 18th on the other side of the world where Armenia is. So this is what's going on. Russia sent in about 2,000 peacekeepers. In other words, Russia's just going to have some people there. If Azerbaijan wants to challenge them, then that's on them. So as awful as this seems to be, I'm very optimistic. I'm thinking, especially with what I'm about to read about Mike Pompeo, the American Secretary of State, United States Secretary of State. I got like 3 quick articles or sound bites that I want to read from him. But this is what Russia's doing. So this is a Russian tank, some Russian peacekeepers, 25 observation posts of Russian peacekeepers deployed in Nagorno-Karabakh. And here's I'll show this map in a second, but Russian peacekeepers have deployed 25 observation posts in Nagorno-Karabakh for observing the preservation of the ceasefire. Armen Press reports the statement issued by the Russian Defense Ministry says that the deployment of peacekeepers in Nagorno-Karabakh continues in line with the November 10 decree of the Russian president. Starting November 10th, 162 flights have been carried out to transport peacekeepers and military equipment. All right, so this is the map. I don't speak Russian, but this is in Russian. And you can see there's these little triangles are the different locations where they're just going to have outposts. So those 2,000 men will be divided by 25, I guess, whatever that comes to. You can see down here, this is where most of the hostilities were. So they got a bunch of posts down there. I do not know what this dividing line is here. Anybody who speaks Russian, maybe this is clarified somewhere right here. It looks like it says something and it's pointing to this area. And this says something pointing to this area, this region. So I don't know why this territory is divided yellow and green. Anyway, I just wanted to show you this map. This is what's happening there right now. Now, when it comes to Pompeo, USA salutes cessation of military operations between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Okay, celebrating the cease. Yes, it's good that hostilities have stopped. And so far, since this peace negotiation or this extended ceasefire has been negotiated, nobody's broken the ceasefire. There, I think, were some rumors that somebody had, but for the most part, this one stuck. There were like 3 ceasefires ordered early on, like the first 3 weeks, or 3 separate ceasefires that were broken within minutes. And so this one is sticking, but it's conceded or gave a bunch of territory to Azerbaijan, but not so fast. I'm thinking that arrangement is temporary, in a good way. It was just to give up some land to get them to stop fighting, but I don't believe that's going to be the final resolution. So I'm going to read some of this, but before that, you got to share this. Subscribe and share. Click the notification bell. Our viewers and the followers here are increasing. The comments and the likes and dislikes are all going up. All of that stuff is good, but you got to keep doing it. If you haven't shared a video lately, if you're one of the subscribers, share this one. Share this one. All right, getting back to this one. The United States salutes the cessation of active military operations between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Armen Press reports U.S. Secretary Mike Pompeo stated in a press statement. The United States welcomes the cessation of active hostilities between Armenia and Azerbaijan. From the start of the recent hostilities, the United States called for an end to the violence and condemned the military escalation that resulted in significant casualties, including civilians. We once again extend our condolences to the families of those killed and injured and call on all parties to respect their obligations under international law, including international humanitarian law. All right, and that's a key thing here, because it's not just that the fighting's over. There's investigations that need to happen. Who is violating international humanitarian law. Ending the recent fights is only the first step toward achieving peace. And this is the critical, this is, some people say he's just a politician saying what he needs to say, but Pompeo is, he's kind of a man of his word. He kind of follows through. He doesn't just speak out of turn or empty words. I am convinced that he's concerned and that the United States is concerned about this scenario. And with this resolution, with Russia stepping in, it's serious. Like, we understand how serious it is now because of Russia having to do what they did and the terrible deal that Armenia got. Ending the recent fighting is only the first step toward achieving a peaceful, negotiated settlement of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. We urge the sides to re-engage as soon as possible with the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, that's the Minsk Group co-chairs, to pursue a lasting and sustainable political solution to the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict based on the Helsinki Final Act principles of the non-use or threat of force, territorial integrity, and the self-determination and equal rights of peoples. As a co-chair of the OSCE Minsk Group, the United States remains fully engaged in this effort. In tandem with our diplomatic engagement, the United States is providing $5 million in humanitarian assistance to support the operations of the International Committee of the Red Cross and other international organizations and non-governmental organization partners, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's a total of $10 million that we've contributed. So the United States is getting involved. I think we've always been involved, but allowing Russia to kind of step in and handle the initial negotiations. Let's move on to this. Secretary Pompeo says Nagorno-Karabakh conflict must be settled within the frames of the Minsk Group. Okay, so as I read in an earlier article in an earlier episode, that Pashinyan was saying, we've got to continue with the Minsk Group oversight. It's not over just because Russia and Armenia and Azerbaijan have signed this temporary ceasefire peace negotiation, 5 years of Russian peacekeepers in the region. That doesn't mean the Minsk Group, that Russia, France, and the United States end their oversight. And that's all, Pompeo's echoing that sentiment. Now, this tells me that we're serious. Pompeo calls Turkey's recent actions very aggressive. The U.S. administration and Europe need to work jointly in addressing actions led by Turkey in the Middle East over the past few months, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told French daily newspaper Le Figaro, reports Reuters. France's President Emmanuel Macron and I agree that Turkey's recent actions have been very aggressive, Pompeo said, citing Turkey's recent support to Azerbaijan in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, as well as military moves in Libya and the Mediterranean. Europe and the U.S. must work together to convince Erdogan such actions are not in the interest of his people, Pompeo said, referring to Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan. Pompeo said increased use of Turkey's military capability was a concern. All right, so something's going on in Turkey, and we all agree. Azerbaijanis need to agree that Turkey is involved in this, and Turkey has been fueling this, stirring this up. I mean, I got commentators, I got Azeris and Turks who are watching and commenting, and to you I say, a lot are saying, you're so one-sided, you're on the Armenian side. And yes, I'm on the Armenian side, and that is because of my research that I've been doing. There is a difference in how people handle conflict, and I did an episode earlier, and I'll end with this, that showed two elderly women on either side of this conflict. It was they both looked like they were probably in their late 60s, 70s, maybe even early 80s. And it was an elderly Armenian woman, an elderly Azerbaijani Turkish woman. And their temperaments were so starkly contrasted. And that tells me who's in the wrong here. The Armenian was saying, we've had Azerbaijanis living amongst us here. We've had them, peace. We had friends, neighbors. From that, it tells me that they weren't objecting to Azerbaijanis living peacefully, cohabiting in their midst. Whereas the Azerbaijani woman was saying, kill the Armenians. And for elderly women, this is deep-seated. They're not going to mince words. They're not going to couch their words to just to appease the listener, or they speak from their heart. They have no reason to lie to anyone. And in that episode that I posted, they were being sincere. They're just talking. It's like the Armenian was like, yeah, I mean, we can't be friends now because they're attacking us. And the Azeri woman was like, God kill the Armenians. So if I'm being one-sided, I'm not against Azerbaijan. I'm not against Azeris. I'm against authoritarian government structures that push propaganda. You Turks and Azeris who are paid to troll me, you're paid to troll. The fact that you're paid to troll me, it's a bad sign. It's like, I'm glad you're watching. Maybe you're going to hear some truth here, and you'll be like, yeah, why am I being paid to troll this guy? It's because it's propaganda. That's how it works. The government pushing a point of view with an ulterior motive, and it's power. You may not think they want to destroy Armenia, but those that are actually in control, that's their ultimate goal. So I have to be one-sided. Armenia needs to stay. Nagorno-Karabakh needs to stay in the hands of Armenians. All right. Share, subscribe.